was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
Hi, my name is Marilou. I'm 32 years old and I'm the brand manager for Vitology Vitamins.
I'm Karabo Makena. I am 29 years old and I'm an art director and I work for the Jupiter Drawing Room.
Hi, I'm Donna. I'm 33 and I'm a student and a teacher.
My name is Etienne, I'm 46 and I'm in financial services, been for 20 years. Yeah, and I'm from Cape Town.
I'm Christine, I'm 30 and I am currently studying development studies.
I actually only started dating interracially when I got down to Cape Town, interestingly enough. So I grew up in Joburg, I came down here to study, and what was it? I think it was my second year in Cape Town. I started dating a white girl from Denmark. I was just fascinated by like the cross-cultural like chats that we would have, you know what I mean? Because she's from Europe and I'm from deep dark Africa. but mostly we used to conversate about like how different we are, but that kind of brought us together.
Yeah. Or I feel
That's what made
in
it
situations
interesting.
like that you start realizing that you're more similar than different.
Yes, exactly.
By
By the
bringing light into the
juxtapositions,
differences,
yeah.
you're actually finding out how similar you are. Even though she grew up in this completely different country, you
Yeah.
grew up in deep, dark Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's human and human.
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
end. But can I ask, did you find yourself attracted to people from different races or different cultures from a young age? Because for myself, I never had that. Like I was brought up in a white Afrikaans family. I thought I was going to marry a nice white Afrikaans boy one day. And
I had no intent. I married a girl from Athlone.
okay.
You know, in my mid-20s. But you kind of
As the
knew.
norm.
Yeah, I think because of my appearance, I did find that white girls liked me. Like they're exotic, but you know, these green eyes with dark skin. And so it evolved. If anything, 90% of them approached me. And that sounds like a brag, but yeah. Yeah, Malatia. It's going to be on national TV. So it's kind of just evolved into, I would never have, you know, when you were 18, you didn't even look at a white chick. You get chucked in jail for that. So we didn't, but you know, at the first one when I was 19, I mean, it was just there. But I will tell you that it helped me evolve to who I am today. The first Afrikaans girl, I mean, God, if I am who I am today largely because of her influences. I have my degree because of her. I embraced a lot of the Cape Flats limiting belief, the social conditioning I broke down because of my interracial relationship.
Maybe because she was like a mirror. Because she was not from that culture, she could be a mirror to show you who you are.
She taught me that I could be whatever I want to be.
Yeah.
I was integrated like from a very young age. I went to white schools, as they're called, or like more Model C schools from like a very young age. I moved to a very affluent suburb when I was still young. It was still during apartheid, so I'd never saw color as anything. During my upbringing. So the whole thing of dating interracially it's weird for me to think about because I don't think about it when I think about dating somebody. Yeah, I look for somebody who I like and just try and make it work. And yeah, race never really factored in there.
I think even before I moved overseas, maybe I had an inclination that I was going to date outside of my race, so to say. And I asked my mom what would she do if I came home with a black guy one day. And she said, my child, as long as he's a Christian, we don't care.
There you go.
Yeah, but now, you know, that was then. I don't think now that still applies because I don't think I've ever dated a Christian guy. As far as I know. No.
She's got so many other issues to deal with that the Christianity thing is like
Yeah,
secondary.
but now, you know, we had this conversation again recently and but I'm 32 now, you know, I can make my own decisions, I live my own life. And what she says, I don't know if it's true what she feels, but what she says is as long as this person loves you, as long as this person takes care of you and you're happy, we approve of it. It doesn't matter where they're from, whether they're from another country, whether they're from another race, whether they're from another culture, doesn't matter, as long as there's love, care and understanding.
I actually found the experience the opposite in a way. Almost like the longer I immersed myself into the culture, the more I realized that I was different and that I had different values and that I had a different upbringing. And it was difficult, to be honest. And my parents actually did meet him, but obviously because he doesn't speak English, my parents came to visit me in Mexico, and I had to act as translator, which I found really difficult. Just because my parents are also very social, very open people, and they like to communicate, and they like to, ask questions, and
Now there's this roadblock.
exactly, which was really difficult.
I think because we came from such different backgrounds, like he grew up very poor and had different challenges in life, and that although we connected intellectually and politically and we had so much in common, and we really we created a world together, I think that I just had I have a more privileged upbringing, and I take a lot of things for granted. I just thought, okay, we're in love. I mean, you have to come with me, and we have to live together and be happy. And for him, it isn't that easy. Just upping and leaving. For me, that's sort of what I've been doing. I want to go somewhere. Go. It was actually it was a lot humbling to realize that, wow, not everyone can do that.
For me, like the term sort of interracial, I think what's more important is intercultural.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think that it's not necessarily about skin color, but it's about cultural differences and more important values. I think that even cultural differences can you can meet a common ground. It's perfectly possible, but I think that there has to be sort of a mutual respect for value systems. And if there's, if you have a mature relationship where you can communicate well, then yes, I firmly believe that it can work across any kind of divide, really, or any kind of racial or cultural barrier.
So does it mean you would date South African black men?
I'm not sure. It really depends, because there's a lot of baggage in this country. Like, people like to think that everything's cool. I'd love it to be all Ubuntu, but there's a lot of things that just go unsaid, and I think it's quite a heavy thing. I don't think it's something to treat that lightly. It would.
In my wife's absence, so one of the things we always talk about, at university at Pretoria, she did not ever wake up one morning thinking, one day I'm going to marry and have a child with a black man. Not ever. It was just never thought.
You know what? That's true, because I never really thought of what I had as an interracial relationship, as I was telling Marilu. It was only when the other day that I was told about this project that I was like, oh, that was an interracial relationship. But while we were together, it was never sort of like that. Was like. It sort of disappeared.
I feel the same. Perhaps if I'd been in South Africa, maybe I wouldn't have been exposed to such an extent to the kind of lifestyle that I was exposed to in Mexico. Because obviously here, you grow up in certain settings, and that's sort of the norm. And you don't necessarily. You understand that there's differences, but you're not necessarily sort of faced with it every day. And my experience in Mexico was exactly that. It was a completely different environment from what I was used to on a daily basis.
You were the outsider.
Absolutely.
Do you think that's like the common theme? Because I found that my mind opened up to dating like that when I moved out of my comfort zone, out of Joburg, when I came to Cape Town. Completely different environment, and I was, you know what I mean?
You're exposed to more
Yeah,
things.
exactly.
I guess also initially because I was open to a lot more, because I'm just, you arrive in a new place, you want to experience the culture, you want to experience the people, and then, you get, well, in my case, I really got involved, and I got deeply involved, and then I realized how different I was. And decided to come home.
But I found that the interesting thing is everything changed when I moved back to South Africa, because when I was living in Japan, or even when I was traveling in South America, it was a non-issue for me. I would just date whoever I wanted to date. I didn't even think about it twice. But the moment I moved back to South Africa, all these old habit patterns that were kind of instilled on me because of my cultural upbringing came back. And all of a sudden I felt, now I have to go find myself a white Afrikaans boertjie to marry and have beautiful white Afrikaans children. And the pressure was so much, but it only came from me. And I found it very interesting that it had to surface again, but in the end, it didn't work out like that. So, but I felt it come up again, where I never had that for the 6-7 years that I was overseas. But the moment I landed shore, it's like you're
back to your roots.
back to your roots and back to the expectations.
Structure that that exists, that just
Yeah.
sort of like sits there.
Yeah.
Like you can leave it, but it's still there.
It's still
like,
there, and
when you come back, it just sits back right there.
Yeah.
So,
But at least
it's
when you come
creepy.
back, you can recognize the structure for what it is, and then
more aware. Whereas I think that
Exactly.
initially you wouldn't have even questioned it.
yeah.
The biggest irony is that I get more pressure from our own community dating the other way than I get from the white community dating into the white
See,
culture.
that's interesting. But why do you think that is, though?
A lot of it's just perception and fear factor because you see, I'm now being perceived as wannabe.
Like you're pretending.
Yeah, he wants to be white, so he's
Okay.
and he wants because it's still perceived in the whole context of the apartheid South Africa that that's you are superior if you're white, and the irony is it's not that, and it's the furthest thing from that. It's really about common interests. It's about being able to share what you're passionate about with that person.
My family, we always get together for like big dinners and stuff like that, and that's kind of stuff that I want to take forward and like
Exactly. You
into,
wanna
like,
keep
my
that
family.
connection.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of stuff that you in your culture and your upbringing that you keep, and what if that other person has a completely different background? So you're saying it's awkward? Yes, it will be awkward.
Yeah.
It'll always be awkward.
That's
as
the
soon as
thing.
you're coming from
It's
like
kind
a
of
different,
the sacrifice
different
that you have to
perspective.
make for
yeah,
that.
absolutely, absolutely. You just got to think if that person is worth it or not.
But
Exactly.
I think that the sacrifice element is very important, but I think that it has to maybe be on both sides. There has to be that mutual respect in terms of, okay, so we are going to celebrate with my family and there's one cultural setting and I respect it and I'm going to participate. Maybe I feel a little bit awkward, but it's for you. So I have that, out of respect, exactly.
Question
It's
is,
hard.
does values supersede cultural difference?
I think so. Yeah. Because it's between two people, right? And if your values are very similar, then your culture, it's like, are your differences compatible? Because the similarities will take care of themselves.
Yeah, that's
But if your differences are incompatible, it won't work. If your differences are compatible, it will work.
Largely, if I listen to what my wife often says, though, the differences is where the passion comes from for her. Because I think it's the glass half full or half empty. So when she looks at the different, the one common one is in the beginning was she never ate curry. And then on top of it, he eats it with his hands. Now I've
You eat
dated,
with your hands?
yeah, when I eat curry, I think it's the only way you should eat it.
I'm going to try that.
Well, someone taught me how to do that, and it's amazing.
It's just you know,
so free. It's
and
so
it's
liberating. You just eat with your hands.
I dated somebody before. I was English UCT student. She found it disgusting. She for obvious reasons that didn't work out. But my wife sees it as colourful.
It's like I can never imagine dating a white Afrikaans guy again.
Really? Why? Why is it so hard for you to?
I don't know. I really thought about it. Like because I was
why?
single for a long time, and I was thinking, even when so I did the online dating thing. I'm not very, very proud of it, but anyways. So I took the route of online dating, and I would see like, white guys and be like, no, ooh, someone from another culture. So I don't know what it is, but
Okay.
it is the exotic factor.
I've just been through that experience because she's Muslim. She's Cape Malayan. She's Muslim, so quite conservative. Yeah, I got the religious thing as well. So and they're very conservative. So she did that. She came out and told them that. Well, we've been dating for about 2 years.
Oh wow, that's a while.
Yeah.
Tell them now. Oh my
No. She only told them she told them like 3 months into us dating. But what she told them now is that she's very serious about me
Okay.
and that we're gonna be, taking the relationship. We're very real, and this is not gonna stop anytime
Yeah,
soon.
it's not like her experimenting with something
Yeah,
else.
exactly. So that's what she told them recently. I think she might have mentioned like marriage in there, but they weren't as accepting to that idea of us getting married as I would have liked it to be, but it's something that we're gonna have to live with. Yeah.
I'm not gonna find a woman of my cultural background with the same interest. So the question for me is, there's that soul influence. I believe that in light of the fact that I've grown so differently, my formative years was township, okay? And the fact that I'm even sitting here tonight is an improbability. It should never have happened. But we defied that, and my soul spoke to me and I listened. So you ask yourself how much of it is actually just a soul influence, a spirit influence.
My dream is to be inspired and to inspire.
So, you know, my dream is to see us all live our lives to our full potential and to be the best they can be.
My dream is to see as much of the world as I can.
My dream is to become a great artist and to own art galleries.
My dream is seeing the people around me realize their potential, realize how much they're worth, and everyone just accepting each other purely for who they are and not what people want them to be.